What is going on, guys? Welcome to a new video on this channel. I just want to say thank you for the support so far. It's been amazing. I've been trying to teach you as much as I can, and that brings me on to this video. So the tattoo you probably saw on my Instagram recently, I will show it right now. So that tattoo, I asked in the comment section, actually I think I asked in the video if you wanted to see the stencil process of me doing that video. So just downloaded it off of my iPad. Yeah, I'm going to go through that today. I'm going to do a voiceover and basically just explain what I'm doing. Pretty simple, just picking up lights and light, dark and medium areas, and just using the techniques that I use. Just I mean, there's loads of different ways to stencil, but I like to dash my my shading areas and then line my what I think is going to be solid color. Or like a solid tone in the tattoo. So yeah, let's get straight into it.
So, what's going on, guys? So this is my iPad screen, as you can see, me wiggling it around. So yeah, you want to go up and insert a photo, and this is the reference that I had. It's a very, very, very nice clear image, which is very important for these types of tattoos because you want to get as much detail in as possible. I'm trying to rotate the page portrait because that's what we're going to be working on. Yeah, I'm trying to rotate the image. Come on, there we go. So yeah, so we're just going to blow this up a bit more because we can actually see when we zoom in nice and big. We can resize it later. So yeah, so basically what I'm doing now is I'm going to go down with the saturation. So this is me. You can pause the video at any time. If you want to go through it a bit slower, you can pause it and then rewind it. So yeah, I'm just going a bit above the full black and grey, black and white, and now I'm just using the curves tool here. But I feel like when I went black and white fully, pulled the saturation down fully, it just didn't. I didn't see enough of the darker tones, so I'm just picking them out now with this curves tool, and then I'm going to go back down with the saturation and see how it looks. So yeah, that looks pretty good. It's looking all right. I might start like this is an important process, guys. Like making sure you can see all the little bits of. I'm going back into the curves tool. Look. The different tones, it's really important to make sure they are picked out and they are looking all nice. So I'm just going to mess around with this really quickly and make sure this is looking good. You don't want it to be too dark because you want the details to stand out. So I've just created another layer, and I've just picked out my pencil tool, and you can see I've set my pencil to a purple. I'm using the 6B, I believe, pencil brush, and I'm just going down with like a dark purple. This is me just testing it out and going up in brush size. Yeah, this is just me picking out the brush size and making sure this is all good. That's far too big. Yeah, that seems all right. So yeah, we're just going to start picking bits out. So this is the solid area. You can see here me using the Apple pencil and just picking out the solid area. So this is all going to be black, and I'm just going to put all these lines in here just to basically let me know that when this is stenciled, this is all going to be black. And yeah, you don't have to do that with every black bit. It's just habit for me to really do it. So we're going to pick out these lips and make sure you pick out all the details. And it's really good using an iPad, guys, because at the end of the day, you can't do this with paper. You can't, if you go wrong, you can't then, you know, rewind and sort of go back and have another shot at it. Like when you're hand stenciling, it is a very old-fashioned way. And to be honest, I do like hand stenciling, but since I've bought this iPad, which is a very, very, very good investment for my work's just gotten better because I'm picking out more details. And at the end of the day, when you pick out more details, you know, the more detailed your tattoo work's going to be. So I'm just putting these really small faint lines in the lips. Lips are quite hard to do well. I thought I managed to get a really good detailed tattoo with the lips. I managed to do the lips quite nicely on this tattoo, so I was quite pleased with how they came out. So yeah, this is just me picking out the really, really slowly picking out the shape of the face. I'm just making sure it's recording. Yeah, carry on going around. So when you come to when it comes to tattooing this part, I won't line this out. I might line it out really lightly, but I'm going to make sure that, you know, I use a mag, and this is already up on my YouTube, guys. So if you do want to see me tattoo this live, you can find this out. You can find this video. It's a relatively new video, so it will be up there on the main page. Only a couple videos back from this, so go check it out if you want to see me tattoo this live and see the processes, etc. I do talk through the tattoo and give some pointers. And tell you what needles I'm using, etc., and what inks I'm using as well. So I am just going around these black parts, and again, because they're solid black, they're solid colour, they are going to be solidly lined, and you'll see I'm sort of going around the dark bits first, I believe. You can see that now that I'm going around this eyelid as well. Yeah. Make sure all the details are in. And eyes can be really difficult to do as well because they are very intricate, small details of the human face. So, you know, drop your needle size and approach it like that. I believe I used a 5-round shader to line out the thick lines around the eye, like the makeup bits where I've lined already on this now, and then I dropped down to a 3-round liner and just really gently put in the details, like what I'm doing now, so like around the eye details itself, so the colour of the eye, etc. So yeah, I used a 3-round line in this part and a 5-round shader in the thicker makeup kind of areas, like the blacks are along the eyelid. And then and then I used a 3-round liner on the eyelashes and the eyebrows as well. I used them on the eyebrows, and then I used a 5-round shader to get all these little details in the eyes, so all the little shades in the eyeball itself. I used a 5-round shader, just a normal one as well. So these little parts I used a 3-round liner. I filled the eyelid out solid black, and then I flicked up from the solid black along those lines, and then with a 3-round liner, I'm just going to drop the size of this brush. There we go. So I've just dropped the size of the brush just to pick out all the little individual eyelashes, which came out nice in a tattoo, so I'm quite happy about that. Let me just fast forward really quickly, because you don't really want to see this part, because I'm just doing the same sort of thing. Okay, so yeah, so this is pretty much the eye nearly done. I'm just looking around, seeing if there's any more parts to be done. I can see in the middle there, I've just done that, just lined that out. And you can see me dashing that's going to be shaded. So I'm going to probably put a shader in there. Actually, I think I did put a shader in there. And then you can see on the eyelid itself, these are the shading marks. So I can distinguish when I come to tattoo this, that there are dashes on the eyelid for my my preference to shade, and then the solid line. So I'm just going to fast forward this really quick again. Okay, so we're just doing the eyebrows. I did do them in a 3-round liner. I like to just make sure I'm on the layer still, and then that I am drawing on the right layer, because if you do draw on the actual picture itself, the reference, again, these are the dashed lines for the shading. I'm just going to put the brush up again to what it was before I did all the small details before the in the eye. So if you do draw on the reference itself, you're screwed. You can't really go back. So you have to do this whole process again. And I'm just picking out these really light areas, and as long as you've picked them out, you can see now there's a small gap between there. So all these little sections here are all going to be shaded. I'm not going to be lining. I'm not going to be approaching them with a liner. I'm not going to line this out. I'm going to shade it with a shader, a shader needle. So, and when you come to tattoo, it's up to you what shade that you wanna approach it with. So it's so because it's dashed, you can see that this is a nice shaded section. It's not fully lined like the nostrils and the eye was. So I know that I'm not to go near. I mean, I'm going to be looking at the reference anyway, but I know not to go near the liner to line it out. I'm just picking the details out, really. I can see it's very slight, but again, that's a darker area to this part here. And I go above the nostril here and just line that out quick, because that's a tiny bit darker. Just undo that bit, didn't mean to do that. And yeah, so that's pretty much the nose in there, the tip of the nose. And now I'm just doing the little Cupid's bow bit. Just added a bit under the nostril there, and then you can see that shaded area above the lips. And a lot of these shades are very similar, so you do just want to take your time, because if you look at this part I'm doing now, above the lip, that lined area I've just picked out, they're very similar. They're very, very, very similar in shade. So I'm pretty sure with the lips I went a tiny bit darker towards the top of the lip, just to give it a bit of contrast, so it's not all just one color, and that really brings out depth in a tattoo. It really, really, really brings out depth. So I'm going to go down in size, I believe, to do these teeth. There we go. Just to pick out. Don't hesitate to go down in size, guys and girls, because it will come out on the stencil. It's not going to not come out. It's not going to be too thin that the stencil machine can't pick it up, because it will, and it will be as strong as the thicker parts that you have picked out as well in your stencil. So these lines will stay on the skin really, really nicely, and you can see those little tiny white bits in the teeth as well. I'll pick those out as well, just for my preference when it comes to doing the white. And you can see the shadow just under the lip, the top lip, where it just shadows the teeth. That's a really important part as well, just to create some more depth. I'm literally picking out as much detail as I possibly can, guys, in this piece, and that's why it came out really nice. As long as you can, keep your stencil strong and not rush it and just take your time, you will be. I did do that little beauty spot there, but I didn't put it in the tattoo. But I put it out anyway, and the thing is as well, like, you can you can pick out whatever you want to pick out, like you can pick out more than what you want to, and you can just pick and choose what you want to tattoo. I mean, a lot of artists try and keep their stencils as simple as possible, but I like to put, not super confusing, but I like to get as much guideline in as possible for me to follow, because when it comes to tattooing it, for me, again, there are different ways to stencil a tattoo, but I found this it's the way I would tattoo. So I stencil my work how I would tattoo, and I pick out all the things that I would pick out in a tattoo. So that's why I do it this way. And I was taught this way as well. I've watched a lot of my favourite artists from around the world, and they sort of stencil like this as well. Some people just use solid lines, and that gets confusing to me, because I like to distinguish where shading is and where, a solid black part is as well. So I use the dashed lines for shading, like you're seeing now. I'm now doing the face. This is all going to be shaded. Even though that part's dark underneath the chin there, like just above the black bit underneath the chin, as it comes round the face, it is dark, but it's still going to be shaded. Beep. So just following the reference, that's the part I was on about, and just following the reference and following the details, and just trying to pick out as much detail as possible. And there are little hands at the side of the face here, so I'll pick those out as well. It's quite therapeutic watching this, to be honest, watching it back. I get really into my zone. Like, this is the time when I'm stenciling, it takes a good half an hour, 40 minutes. It used to take me 20-25 minutes, but now I'm picking up more detail, it takes me a bit longer, and in turn makes the tattoo a bit longer. But that's okay. You don't have to worry about time all the time, because there are some artists that worry that they're too slow, and they take 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours to complete a tattoo. But it's fine. It really doesn't matter, as long as the final piece comes out nice. Then it doesn't really matter. See, this tattoo took me around three hours, I think, and it was the full outside of the forearm. I am a fast artist, but it's not by choice. It's just how I work. Believe me, I would slow down if I thought I could get more detail into my tattoos, but I've tried to slow down, and it literally just takes me an extra half an hour longer, and achieves the same sort of smoothness. But this took me about 3 hours to do, and it went really well. It helps having a client with great skin, so that helped. But yeah, so back to the tattoo. You can see where I'm stenciling. I'm doing the eyelashes right now. I've left a tiny gap in there where the hair's going to go, but I might just delete that. I'm not sure. I can't remember if I do or if I don't. I'd probably keep it in, but I'm not sure. I would take it out looking at it back, and I honestly can't remember what I did, but because it can get a bit confusing. Oh, that's me just trying to turn the screen, and my finger has gone over. I'm pretty sure I use the eraser. Maybe I don't. So this is me just looking at the eye again, and I'm doing the corner of the eye. You can see that now. And again, I've just dropped my brush size as well. You can see it is slightly thinner. I'm just doing this crease in the eyelid here above the eye. It is slightly thinner, just to pick out the details of the eye, like I did on the other side. Yeah, I think I leave that bit in. It doesn't really affect the shape of the eye too much. So yeah, we're just going to finish up on this eye and just pick out some more details. Make sure this part is picked out. The eye whites. That was a bit rushed, so I'll do it again. And then I do the the eyebrows, I believe. So I'm going to just fast forward this part. Okay, cool. So I'm just lining the side of the face, just making sure this line's in there. It's a bit too thin, so I'm going to go up with my brush size. And now I am just going down with the hair, making sure this hair is nice and flowy. Take your time. Yeah, and I like stenciling as well, because it really gives you a sense of, it's almost like a practice run. Do you know, like F1 drivers, they have like practice laps and practice days, etc., like to really get a feel for the track. Well, this is this similar kind of thing to this tattoo. It really gives you a sense of practicing before you're going into it. You can feel the flow of the tattoo, you can feel the flow of the hair, feel the flow of the eyebrows, the eyes, and and it really just gives you a sense of sort of practice running the tattoo through. So yeah, I'm quite proud of that analogy. So yeah, I'm just putting in the hairs, multiple hairlines across the face. And I really like how they flow, so we're just going to carry on doing that. Not too many hairs though, just one or two is fine. Even though there are quite a few there, you don't want to over confuse. I'm just picking out the nose there. As you can see, that highlight area, which I do dot white in, as you see in the finished tattoo video. Yeah, so you don't want to put too many lines across the face, because it can get confusing and it can throw you off of your stencil. So yeah, make sure you do try and keep it as clean as possible and not over saturated with lines and things across the face, because it can throw you off and confuse you. So yeah, I'm just doing these little undershadows of the eye, again all dashed, and this section here on this cheek will be dotted in white as well. You can see the effect here is like dots. So yeah, like to get the I'm doing this in solid lines right now before I finish that point off. That this part's fine because this is dark, but around the nail, I've found that fingers, because they're quite like the lines are quite close together. You'll see when I come to do the other fingers, it can make it rub off. And I have found myself sort of putting in nails before where they're like, I've lost the stencil. So that's why I like to solidly line them, just to make it a bit more solid to know where I'm going. But you always check the reference anyway before going in. You wouldn't just assume that's a black line in there. You'd always go towards the reference anyway. But the focus in this tattoo won't necessarily be the fingers, because the face is so stunning, and it's a real focal point of this tattoo, which is the face. So things like the eyes, the lips, the teeth, and the nose pretty much the whole face there. I've just said, but yeah, the eyes are the most important part of the tattoo, really, along with the lips, because they are really focal points of this tattoo. So yeah, I'm just carrying on picking out the details of the hands. The fingers. So you can see I'm picking out all the light areas where there's like white dots, and that's the areas that I don't want to touch, because going back through the tattoo at the end, I always put white in my work, and that means that's the area that I'll need free and skin color, so that the white takes really, really, really well, and adds a different dimension to the tattoo. So yeah, I'm just going to do the hair now. This part's quite simple. Just picking out the small little hairs, and this is how I would do this tattoo as well. I'm just going to fast forward this real quick, because we don't really, it's pretty simple. You can see fast forwarded that you can see. I'm just going to check it again. And now I just go back into the face again. Just put this hair through the eye, making sure it is all good. And I'm picking out everything. So you can see those little hairs there. I'm just going down with the brush now, just to make sure I can attack those as well. Take that out. I don't like that. That's better. Flows a bit better. It's not so straight. So yeah, and I like to, this is pretty much done now, guys, and you can see the freckles on her face. I decided to leave them out because, in all honesty, I just thought it might muddy up the final tattoo, again with the beauty spot underneath her lip there to the right hand side. So yeah, I took that out, and I'm just looking now, just picking out the small details next to the hand here on the cheek, just making sure this is all flowy, as you can see now. And I'm just making sure that I've got all these little sections in. I did 2 circles there next on the cheek, so I know the inner circle is going to be one shade darker than the outer circle, before going into the skin color underneath her eye. And yeah, I'm just looking at the forehead now, and I can see that's a white area to put white in, and I then pick out the small shaded areas really, really subtly around the bridge of the nose, and underneath that bit of hair as well. There's a slight shadow which I put in as well on the final piece, which just again adds depth. You want as much depth as possible. I don't really use dark shades in the face. I'll use black and dark shades where the blacks are and in the eyes to create a lot of depth, and then in the face itself I'll use like a medium to dark tone on the top lip, because that's coming from a dark area, and maybe around in the nostrils, but the whole of the face was shaded pretty much in light to medium grey wash. So yeah, this is me just toggling off, just seeing what I'm doing, just seeing if I've missed anything. And I can see I've missed a finger, so I go back in there and I sort of make it up, because obviously and that looks a bit too fat, so I'm gonna take that away and just bring it back down a bit like that. And now you can see it's more of a finger. It's more of a finger shape. So yeah, and then all the little shades as well I'm gonna pop in there. So yeah, don't hesitate to draw a tiny bit on if the image is cut off like that, but just make sure you're really careful. Just look at the picture like I'm doing now, and just make sure you have everything, So I'm just putting in the smaller details around the chin, just to make sure that's I've got that. And like you saw then I put another line in and I didn't like it because it would have been a bit confusing. So I took it out. Something you can't do on a hand stencil. So this looks pretty good to me, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to fill these sections in with the old lines just to make sure if the stencil does start to rub off around the eyes, which is quite common, without taking really a lot of care, then you at least have a darker area to go by. So that's why I am putting in these lines now, and that's pretty much it, guys, I think. And then all you have to do once I'm finished with this, which I'll fast forward now. Just, again, picking out all the black areas you can see as I just fast forward this. Even in the teeth, really subtle. Drop your brush size. Pick out the small tiny details in the hair as well. And now I'm just going to look at it, toggle it on and off, and see if it's good, and it looks good to me. So then I go ahead and print it. So I'm just going to resize it now. So I select the whole image and just resize it down and I look at my client's arm and see, and then look at an A4 sheet of paper and sort of guess how big I want to do this. So yeah, and then we will print it off like I'm going to do now. And then if it's not size, I'll resize the image as well underneath, just to make sure I've got that as a reference while I'm tattooing, which I'll have next to me. So yeah, go ahead and import it, and then go ahead and print it, and then we can print it off. So yeah, thanks so much, guys, for watching, and I will see you in the next video.